In quiet American neighborhoods, danger rarely announces itself. It doesn't knock loudly. It doesn't wear a mask. Sometimes it smiles. John Wayne Gacy was the man people trusted. He hired teenagers. He hosted parties. He volunteered in his community. He dressed as a clown to make children laugh. And beneath his house were bodies. This is the story of how one of America's most ordinary-looking men became one of its most horrifying killers, and how he hid in plain sight for years. John Wayne Gacy was born in 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. From the outside, his childhood looked stable. Inside the home, it wasn't. His father was strict, often drunk, and deeply controlling. Nothing John did was ever enough. He was mocked, belittled, and regularly told he was weak. As a child, John craved approval, especially from men in authority. When he didn't get it, something hardened inside him. At school, he struggled socially. He wanted to fit in, but never quite did. He learned early that pretending was easier than being honest. By his teenage years, John discovered something important about himself. If he acted confident, people believed him. If he smiled, they relaxed. That lesson would follow him for the rest of his life. As a young adult, Gacy learned how to build a respectable image. He married. He worked in business. He became involved in local organizations. But behind closed doors, darker impulses were growing. In the 1960s, while living in Iowa, Gacy committed his first known sexual assault against a teenage boy. He was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to prison. For most people, prison would be a turning point. For John Wayne Gacy, it was training. In prison, he learned how to manipulate authority, how to play the role of the model inmate, how to hide his true self. After serving time, he was released early for good behavior, and the world welcomed him back. Back in Illinois, Gacy reinvented himself completely. He started a successful construction business. He hired teenage boys to work for him. He became active in local politics. He hosted parties. He seemed generous, friendly, and dependable. Neighbors trusted him. Parents trusted him. Police officers trusted him. Some even admired him. He lived in a modest house in Des Plaines, Illinois, the kind of place you'd never look twice at. That house would become a grave. Gacy loved attention. He joined a clown club and created two characters, Pogo the Clown and Patches the Clown. Dressed in makeup and costume, he entertained children at hospitals and community events. People left. Parents took photos. No one suspected anything. The contrast was horrifying. A man who made children smile was preying on young men in his private life. Later, Gacy would admit something chilling. The clown wasn't a disguise. It was freedom. Between 1972 and 1978, young men began disappearing. Most were teenagers. Many were runaways. Some were just looking for work. Gacy targeted those who wouldn't be missed immediately. He used charm. He used authority. He offered jobs, drinks, or help. Once inside his home, the tone changed. Gacy controlled his victims through fear, deception, and power. He enjoyed domination more than violence itself. One by one, they vanished, and no one connected the dots. Gacy needed a place to hide what he'd done. He chose the space beneath his house, the crawl space. Over time, he buried victim after victim beneath his own living room. He slept above them. He entertained guests above them. He lived normally above them. Neighbors complained about a strange smell. Gacy blamed it on sewage issues. The explanation was accepted, because people trusted him. John Wayne Gacy didn't avoid suspicion by being invisible. He avoided it by being visible. He talked to police easily. He joked with officers. He acted cooperative. He knew how to sound reasonable. When questioned about missing boys, he had explanations ready. They ran away. They quit the job. I barely knew them. And because many victims were young, poor, or unstable, their disappearances didn't trigger immediate alarms. This wasn't just a failure of law enforcement. It was a failure of society. In December 1978, a 15-year-old boy named Robert Pius disappeared. This time, witnesses saw him last at Gacy's pharmacy job site. Police could no longer ignore the pattern. They followed Gacy. They watched him. They searched his house. What they found beneath the floor changed everything. As officers dug into the crawl space, the truth surfaced, literally. Bodies, one after another. In total, 33 victims were confirmed. It was one of the worst mass murder discoveries in American history. When arrested, Gacy didn't scream. He didn't panic. He talked. He joked. He tried to control the narrative. Eventually, he confessed, not out of guilt but out of pride. He saw himself as smarter than everyone else. Even in handcuffs, he believed he was special. The trial was a national spectacle. The defense argued insanity. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. Survivors testified. Families watched. Gacy sat calmly, sometimes smiling. The jury didn't hesitate. He was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death. On death row, Gacy painted. Many of his paintings featured clowns. Some people bought them. Others were disturbed by them. Gacy gave interviews. He blamed society. He blamed victims. He never truly accepted responsibility. Until the end, he believed he mattered. In 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection. Outside the prison, crowds gathered. Some celebrated. Some mourned. Most tried to understand how this had been possible. There was no final confession that brought peace. Only silence. John Wayne Gacy wasn't terrifying because he looked like a monster. He was terrifying because he didn't. He reminds us of something uncomfortable. Evil doesn't always hide in darkness. Sometimes it lives next door. Sometimes it smiles. Sometimes it earns your trust. The danger isn't always obvious. And that may be the most frightening lesson of all. This wasn't just the story of a killer. It was the story of how easily appearances could deceive us, and how ignoring warning signs can have devastating consequences. Remember the victims. Question the mask. And never assume danger looks the way you expect it to.